DonleyAuctions.com.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
From the streets of Melrose Park to the trading floor of the Merc, he's fought for every dollar he's ever earned. And now, with personal liberty and our system of capitalism under assault in America, he's here to seize back our rights from the government. With a cigar in one hand and a copy of the Declaration of Independence in the other, he's Shaun Thompson. And this is the Shaun Thompson Show.
Some folks are born made to wave the flag.
It's Paul Lisnick Day in the USA. Squirrel, did you light an extra cigar for Paul Lisnick? You remember Paul Lisnick, political commentator from the most corrupt city, most corrupt county, most corrupt state in the history of America. Paul Lisnick. Side saddle, Paul. He also looks like the unholy forest preserve baby of Boris Karloff and Lon Chaney. He's an ugly son of a gun. One eyebrow straight across his head. But he has his entire day, and I watched it live unfold. June 19th in the city of Chicago will forever be known as Paul Lisnick Day.
Also, a quick mention, the city of Chicago will officially recognize what?
What? Yeah.
What is this? You get your own day.
What did you do?
What did you do?
I think it's being with you. I also put in for both of you vacation days on that day. So
June 19th. Well, what do they do? Is there a parade or something?
I'm hoping. Bozo's supposed to do a little something. No, I think it's just
any reason for Paul to get into a thong and high heels. He's in.
Just an honor, sort of. I do a lot philanthropically and all that, and of course, trying to educate the masses on some of this political stuff. So that was.
Educate the masses on political stuff. You're a philanthropist? Oh, he does a lot of philanthropists. Really, it doesn't make you a philanthropist because you run around the forest preserve giving everyone herpes. You're not a philanthropist. You're a sick fraud propagandist. And here's what Paul negates. Aside from the fact every suck-on at the Obamacare library, known as the Pharaoh Pyramid, every moron there is part of the La Cosa Nostra. Short in the pants. Mafia Chicago. Here's an example of how corrupt and crooked the justice, so-called justice, the injustice system in Chicago is. Loretto Hospital, ghetto hospital, nearly $1 billion. $1 billion. It's 1,000 million. They're just short, Squirrel. 800 million and change. Absolute unequivocal fraud, thieves by would-be half-assed doctors who got their degree at Bangladesh High. These scumbags, and you are scumbags, stole, I said stole, $800 million in fraud of COVID. And now, because the Democrat La Cosa Nostra, the same Supreme Court that had Ed Burke, you remember Ed Burke, Squirrel, big fat-ass gangster, big South Side fat-ass alderman gangster, convicted, sent to prison, got out, lost weight in prison like one of the good fellas. They had sandwiches. Turns out, 800 million stolen by these 2 or 3, the whole fracking hospital. If you're shot, you're better off if they just push you into the parking lot and you grunt it out. You'll do better. They are not in the business of fixing people. They're in the business of stealing money. And in Chicago, the court system that was headed up by Ed Burke's wife, the Supreme Chief Justice of the Illinois Supreme Court, to give you a little window, which makes Operation Silver Shovel look like it was nothing. And after all, what's the difference? Crooked judges abound wherever Democrats are in charge.
The judge blasting federal prosecutors in Chicago as they drop another high-profile case.
This one involved 2 former leaders of Loretto Hospital charged in an $800 million COVID-19 testing scheme. WGN's Angelica Sanchez was in that courtroom, and she joins us live from the Dirksen Federal Building. Angelica.
How many of the rats that work in the Dirksen Federal Building, how many of the government employee suck-ons are all brought up on PPP fraud? Is it 65 or 73? This was the greatest fraud perpetrated on mankind after the fraud of stealing the election in 2020. And then he let all the Democrat suck-ons wet their beak. And you got the crooked judges in the pocket, which means now you'll walk free.
Ben and Micah, what happened here today is part of the fallout following allegations of misconduct inside the U.S. Attorney's Office related to the prosecution of the Broadview 6 case. That case refers to a group of people that are accused of disrupting federal immigration enforcement last fall.
So let's get this straight. God, I can't stand these stupid moron reporters too ugly to get jobs at soap operas. Because Antifa, Chicago commie good-for-nothing welfare roaches, protested in Broadview. Because of that case, you're going to throw out $1 billion in which we have the two crooked doctors with 9 fingers, the two crooked quacks that sucked as doctors but were excellent at stealing money from COVID. What do those cases have to do with each other? The prosecutor is the government. You see how this works in all these Democrat mafias? From New York, New Jersey to California and every Democrat ghetto enclave in the middle. When the Democrats are in charge, the crooks steal with impunity.
The judge overseeing this case says because of what led to today's dismissal, quote, Pandora's box has opened.
This is a tremendous distraction from the work of the office.
Former federal prosecutor Ron Safer says the growing controversy inside the U.S. Attorney's Office is unprecedented.
If the U.S. Attorney's Office made a charge, the public knew that the evidence was there to back it. That's gone. Now you're seeing cases fall apart.
No, you're not. No, you're not, you Democrat fraud. That goes on the presumption that your allegation is fact. When the Democrat scum that wallows in mafia, political mafia, and hires the spouses of gangsters as the Supreme Court justice, all of a sudden you have the virtue? What they're trying to do is negate the law enforcement and the ability of federal prosecutors to put away Democrat-protected thieves, whether they're Ed Burke, his dog wife, his ex-girlfriend, or whoever. If you have the favoritism of La Cosa Nostra, also known as the short-in-the-pants Irish Ed Burke Mafia. By the way, Ed, you're the reason lap dances are $50, you fat, ugly bastard. When you realize what this is just undercutting the power of federal prosecutors to put away Democrat crooks.
That doesn't happen. It's never happened. And it destroys the public's trust in the criminal justice system.
On Friday, Judge Sharon Johnson Coleman dismissed fraud charges.
Sharon Johnson Coleman. Boy, that's a funny three-namer. Why am I picturing Whoopi Goldberg? Am I the only one?
Against 2 people tied to allegations of a multi-million-dollar COVID-19 testing scheme inside Loretto Hospital. But the same federal prosecutors handling that case are now accused of misconduct in the Broadview 6 case.
So the grand jury, what was drilled into our heads as prosecutors was that the grand jury is sacrosanct. You must be pure as the driven snow, and even purer because nobody's watching. It's just you and the grand.
The 2 cases, you bald bastard. Who's this imbecile? Another suck-on Democrat. The 2 cases are absolutely and unequivocally mutually exclusive. The only thing in common is they're federal prosecutors. Do you understand the magnitude of this, Squirrel? This, in essence, means the federal prosecutors, every case that they have in front of court, the Democrat scumbag judges, crooked judges, can throw them all out and free the Democrat thieves like these 2 lowlife rat quacks at Loretto.
Jurors.
Friday's case was dismissed with prejudice after prosecutors filed an emergency motion in an effort to avoid an evidentiary hearing.
Whoa. So it's dismissed with prejudice? See, you want to hear without, that means they could bring it back. But with means this 3-name crooked, and I'm talking to you, blowhard, judge, set these 2 scumbags free who stole $800 million out of ghetto Loretto. It's a ghetto, I said. Ghetto Loretto Hospital. These 2 doctors got away with $800 million. So the next time somebody tells you, crime doesn't pay. Bulldung. When you're in a Democrat enclave, you got crooked Democrat judges, crooked Democrat prosecutors, and the media that will put lipstick on the excuse Crime pays $800 million and counting.
In the case, Judge Coleman did not hold back her comments during the hearing, telling prosecutors Pandora's box.
Now, were you, Judge Coleman, are you like the judge in Atlanta and you're catching it in your chambers by some copper who's overbilling on overtime? I don't give a rip what you say. This is why judges should have to and be forced to. I don't want you to tell me what you are. I want your voting record on there. Every judge that's been crooked enough, dumb enough, and desperate enough to vote Democrat, you can never be a judge unless you're in Chicago. Now you're just a vestibule of protection for Ed Burke, his little peach, and his sexually frustrated wife.
Has been open, telling them other cases are now in turmoil, saying, quote, I know I'm not the only one that has similar cases that are being challenged. She also called out.
So understand what this means. They caught them. You stole their. Now they walk. Crooked Democrat judge, like the three crooked, also no yoga instructors, all fat Democrat women in Minnesota that overturned jury convictions for the Somalians that stole hundreds of billions of dollars from the American people. This is how you get away with crime. All scumbags, gangbanging, degenerate drug dealers, murderers, rapists, and illegals go live among the Democrats in Illinois, New York, and New Jersey. The government protects you there. And here's a little lesson. All scumbags stay away from decent judges because where I live, we don't tolerate the most infinitesimal scum. We put them away, whether they're 18 or 80.
Somebody's selling an iPad on Facebook Marketplace. So he meets up with the defendant, forcefully removes the iPad and charger when the victim reaches for a cell phone and get paid by Zelle.
I spoke with him. He would be able to afford a $4,000 bond.
I don't really care what he can afford. He's ripping people off, trying to sell their merchandise online. He's getting standard bonds in all the cases, plus house arrest.
Your Honor, he's
But thank you for making that argument.
And he has no priors.
I don't care. He has 8 cases, second-degree felonies. He's facing serious prison time if he's found guilty. He's a danger to the community, and he should have the standard bond.
CWB Alexis Castillos of Bridgeview was detained Friday, finally, on charges that include 4 counts of attempted murder stemming from April 28th incidents. She is the 7th person accused of killing or trying to kill someone in Chicago this year while on felony pretrial release. That's the difference. Scumbags, you have a home where Democrats rule, not just that Obama library of which you cannot get in without an ID and $38, as he doesn't pay any in vendors. Scumbags. 312-642-5600.
This is the Shaun Thompson Show, where Democrats are always wrong, Republicans are seldom right.